The Accounting and Financial Analysis program is the first in the Corporate Finance series. It has one simple and very fundamental goal, which is how we read financial statements in order to tell a company's economic story. I start by explaining the basic tools, how we measure profitability, how we measure risk. I also explain how the accounting rules work, GAAP as it's known, IFRS and US GAAP. We then try and cover the waterfront during the week in terms of business models and in terms of the current hot accounting issues. We'll talk about intangible asset companies that are rich in intangible assets, and how that affects their profitability and performance. We'll look at banks and how their accounting differs from that of industrial companies. We look at asset valuation, the way in which companies value their assets, and I'll explain some of the very large asset write-downs that we tend to see these days. We use a lot of actual companies as live cases. We will look in some depth at Apple to see just why it's so successful and how it got here. We will compare IBM and Amazon that demonstrate two very different approaches to dealing with investors. We will look at some branded goods companies and pharmaceuticals companies. We'll examine the airline industry, focusing perhaps on Ryanair, British Airways, Lufthansa. At the smaller end, we will also look at technology startups and stir through their entrails to explain how you can figure out which often quite loss-making business is going to succeed in the future. The pace of the program is quite fast, and I think probably the key skill is to have the agility to engage with the program and to have fair experience of the business landscape, to understand the case studies and the stories we'll be telling. In the recent past, we've had people from government, HR, the legal profession, the creative industries, all of whom have got a lot out of the program. Financial statements, which are at the core of the program, are our window into the economic world. Indeed, they are the only window we have. And a structured read of financial statements is incredibly revealing. I think what surprises people when they come to LBS is just how exciting and empowering it can be to learn how to read financial statements.